the CME Group here in Chicago, Monday, December 9th. Let's get into the zone, folks, the CMZ zone, as well as the Stock Monster. I'm Jeff Kilberg at The Killer. I'm here with Evan McDaniel at Sell Puts. We got a lot to talk about as the holidays are upon us. You know, we've seen that these markets continue to oscillate here. This 10-year, we've talked about this under 2%. There's some dangers there, and we're kind of working our way down to this target I've had of 1.67%. But your focus has been over in Europe. Tell me what you're seeing in Europe.
Increasing weakness still, you know. We had grumblings of potential failures over there, and we've seen the euro obviously come back below that 1.3 level and bounce back above it. So we're still kind of hanging in there, and we're hanging in limbo, and we're waiting for the shoe to drop. And when it's going to drop, we don't really know. Right,
and talking about shoe to drop, Zero Hedge, and if you're watching this video, I imagine you're following Zero Hedge, at Zero Hedge. Great website. Tyler, you're doing a great job always posting those things. But he had a great specific point about bailout last week. December 13th specifically, there's a $2.5 billion borrowing from the Fed discount window. And I'll, you know, the link, hopefully at Coffee Grinds can put the link up for us, but I'll let you go to it. But what are your thoughts on, you know, that bailout? Are we going to hear about that in a couple of weeks? Is this how it's all started?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it was silent. You know, we don't really know, but there's been a spike in the Fed balance sheet, and there's been obviously it looks like there's been an intervention that's come in, and it is very quiet. But it does take time for this to work out into the mainstream media, but it's definitely something to keep.
For sure, and I think that's the trillion-dollar question everyone's talking about. You know, last Friday I was on CNBC Fast Money, and Steve Grasso said, "Killer, you know, what are your thoughts? You know, when is this reality going to kick in?" And we all know reality bites, but I think people are not realizing that this bite is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's going to be very surprising, very shocking, much like the Mike Tyson bite on Evander Holyfield's ear. We are going to see something. I think we're going to see it sooner or later, folks. So hopefully you can properly balance. We're seeing the S&P right now go back down to the overnight lows, testing that 1202 level.
Yeah.
Where do you see the S&P going in the next week or two as we see these low volume, high volatile markets?
Yeah, again, I think it's the 1200 metric that we're really looking at. You know, overnight we tested 1202 in the futures, 1204 in cash is what I'm looking at. But as long as we remain over the 1200 metric, I think it might, you know, the market might chop around here until the new year. If we break below that, you know, the next leg down could be 1298, and then below that we could, you know,
1198, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We could see further downside.
All right, folks. Well, do you have anything from Wesley Haar and the Stock Monster boys?
Stock Monster, Wesley Haar, my partner, we're looking at HOV to the long side, home builder.
No, I think that's a good point. And Pete Najarian talked about, you know, properly positioning yourself for some short euro currency. You know, if your focus is either in the banks over there, or if you want to be short the euro currency. But I think now is the time, despite the fact we have seen the euro currency come down dramatically, I still think there's a lot more room to run in the downside as Tyson's going in for that earlobe. Arr! So one other thing from the floor of the CME Group, let's remember during this holiday season, you got to be the hammer
and not the nail.